Let's just lie down. And what we're going to go with today, we're going to pick up from last section, the idea of giving in. So we're lying down.
So just lying down. And as I said, okay, the theme we're continuing, kind of picking up from last session, is the idea of giving in. And the reason we're lying on the floor is it's the closest conversation or the deepest conversation we can have with that idea of giving in. And I had this interesting talk with Dina, who mentioned the idea of giving in and the idea of giving up. And we can just go with those ideas, and as we're lying down, just allow more body parts to give in to gravity. Just give in just to the idea of giving in, not resisting. And we can go through our body parts, beginning with our feet, just observing how they're rested on the ground, how our knees feel. And if we have a need to change a position within our body, just go ahead, spread out your feet, lean in a different way from your heels. Find more ways to just give in to the ground. And we can use our bones as a leaning point, or a leaning point we can relate to, as we feel how we touch the ground with our pelvis, with our upper back, how our shoulder blades touch the ground, how our arms touch the ground, where our head meets up with the ground. And using our head, we can start playing with more areas reaching the ground. But instead of thinking of moving our head, or moving our heels, or moving our pelvis, or moving our shoulder blades behind us, just kind of allowing more areas to give in to the ground, so we can drop more parts or let go through our muscles or through what we think are our muscles. And our head can just be like a flashlight showing us how many areas we can give into and connect through our heads to our necks, and connect to the idea of giving in, giving to ourselves, through ourselves, giving in to the ground, and soft movements, just taking more bony structure or bony sensations through which we can connect to that, giving in, trying to make way from our shoulder blades, spreading our arms further away, giving in more parts of our skin into the ground. And while we use our skin and bones to give into the ground, we can make way to giving in our muscular parts. And again, we don't need to know which muscles hold where. We can just connect to the bones, trying to reach the ground. Connect to the skin, leaning more parts onto the ground. And through the skin and the bones, trying to bring more parts to lean into the ground, finding ourselves turning, tossing, and the whole time bringing that giving in texture into our movement. Again, trying to use our skin sensation, bringing in more bones to try and sense the ground from leaning into the ground sensation. So I can find myself lying down on my stomach, on my side. Bringing the vertebrae from the front to try and hit the ground. For me, I've let go from even the mat as a leaning point. Just find more bones that you want to hold on to. Hold on to from the ceiling maybe, and hold on to from the ground. How can a hip lean onto the ground from the side without bringing any effort from the muscles, just trying to let them go, release them. And again, playing into that giving in sensation. And if I can think of giving up, kind of maybe even giving in from the bone structure and giving up from the muscles. To just move around, allowing our toes to participate, allowing our fingers to participate, playing between the idea of our flesh giving up, our skin giving in, our bones giving in. our souls giving up. Try finding more areas requesting to join in to this leaning sensation where the ground just is this huge cushion, soft, receptive. The words that came up as I asked people, how would they translate the word lehitmasel? So the words that came up are devotion. A word that came up was maybe surrender. A word that came up was yielding to yield. So find a word that you can connect to as you place your body in this comfort zone of just leaning into the ground, deeper, softer. Allow a smile to hover over this whole session. It can be a pure, teeth exposing smile. It could be an inner heart, allowing myself to be in this place, carrying my bones, allowing more and more muscles that are holding on to just yield to the ground, surrender to a sensation of pleasure. If you have a pain or an ache, just allow it to surrender to the ground. If you have a yawn asking to break out, or somewhere in a muscle, in the lower back, in the knee, in the neck, in the shoulder blades, requesting to smile and let go, and just allowing it to lean in further into the ground. You can lean onto that particular part, if it's on your side, on your stomach, on your back, on your neck, in your jaw, in your foot, in your knee. Just make more room for it to lean in and smile as the ground just accepts it all, allowing it to go in. And I'll bring in the song, the spontaneous song, and keep going. You can find yourself rolling all over the place. Till you find yourselves back on the back. Still indulging in the sensation of the ground, holding, receiving my bones, my flesh, my skin. Take a moment to find all the little parts you still can, kind of holding on, allowing them to let go and give in some more. Maybe take a moment, an extra moment for your thoughts, to also give in to this moment. And using our flesh kind of leaning into the ground, find a way to roll the flesh over, trying to touch as much of the ground with the flesh as you find yourself rolling over to one side. Again, using as much of the ground as you can to lean into. And this time we're leaning into the ground to kind of receive the opposite direction, to lift ourselves up. Using the leaning as a leaning point to sit up. Finding ourselves in a sitting position.